This 3.5 mile stretch called the Strip. It's flashy, it's alluring, it's Las Vegas. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Miller High Life, the best beer for the best time of day. Welcome to Miller High Life. By Firestone, we're making radial tires street legal, competition tough. And by Sears Roebuck & Company, for quality merchandise, wide selection, fair prices, and dependable service, you can count on Sears. You're looking at one of the largest bowling complexes in the entire nation. Here at the Showboat Hotel, Casino, and Lanes, a total of 106. And stretched together, they would be more than the length of the football field. We're here for the $150,000 Showboat Invitational. Good afternoon again. I'm Chris Schenkel, and glad to be back here for the competition and the friendliness of the Showboat. Much of the history of the PBA happened right here, because this is certainly one of the oldest stops. In 1960, when it started here, a small field were bowling for the top prize of $3,500. Now here in 1983, 420 were in the starting field. The winner today will get $27,000. Speaking of winners, last June, the PBA Doubles Classic was won by Sam Zurich and his partner, our colleague Nelson Burton Jr. So here's the winner. Bo?
Thank you, Chris. This bowling establishment I've really had good luck with on this pair of lanes, and I think one thing that's always helped me, and may help the players today, is the lane construction. These lanes are constructed out of what we call modulane. That's a prefabricated wood lane put together in 4 sections. Now, the one problem the players may have is with taps. When the 2 lanes are butted up together at the back end, many times the lower section or the back section will shrink and become lower than the upper section. What happens is when the ball enters the 1-3 pocket, it often becomes airborne. That leaves solid 10s and often the solid 8 tap.
Will we have high scoring, Bo?
Chris, if they can carry, I believe they'll shoot some big scores. The potential's there for big games. The pin action's good, but the solid 10 is the pin you have to watch out for.
Bo, we look forward to your commentary.
Thank you, Chris.
So here in the field of 5, out of that total field of 420, we have 2 professional bowlers that have yet to win a PBA title, thus not eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions. The big check today, $27,000. An interesting first match. Marshall Holman will be competing in that first match, and it'll be Gary Skidmore, his opponent. But right now, let's take time to meet our 5 finalists here in Las Vegas. The bid for the Clear Championship. Again, in our first match with the hottest bowler on tour, Gary Skidmore of Albuquerque, New Mexico. He won 2 weeks ago in Anaheim, and he'll face a man who has not visited the winner's circle in nearly 2 years. That's Marshall Holman of Jacksonville, Oregon, the holder of 14 PBA titles. The winner of the opening match will advance to meet one of the tour's brightest young stars, Don Genalo of North Merrrick, New York. Our third game today will feature colorful Joe Hutchinson of Scranton, Pennsylvania, who won the 1981 PBA Doubles Classic right here. In the championship match, our tournament leader, Tom Milton of St. Petersburg, Florida, will be seeking his first tour win. Match 1 coming up here in Las Vegas. And, well, 2 weeks ago, you saw him, the man on the left, Gary Skidmore, who won in Anaheim. And you haven't seen Marshall Holman in the winner's circle for a long time, about 2 years. But he is that colorful professional bowler, now bowling out of Jacksonville, Oregon, instead of Medford. Jacksonville, a little farther out, 5 miles away. First shot, left lane. Oh, a high hit. And Marshall is hit with a 4, 6, 7, 9, and 10. And that certainly won't help pump the adrenaline.
Not really, Chris. You know, when Marshall's had a very poor record in the last 2 years in the championship round, and he's looking for a better year in 1983.
Wasting no time, covers 3 of the pins. So for Marshall Holman, it's a count of 8, open frame in the very first. Now Skidmore, whom, as we said, won the very first event here in our 22nd year of televising the professional bowlers. He's 6'1", 185. This championship pair, Gary Skidmore of Albuquerque, New Mexico, averaged 268. In fact, the composite of the 5, 224 average. There you look at 28-year-old, 6'1", 185, and he is so proud of his hometown and where he lives, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now trying to double, can increase his lead over Marshall Holman. Nelson, he looks tough.
Chris, the championship round of record of Gary Skidmore is unblemished by a loss. He's 6 wins, no losses. Holman has really struggled, as we said. He was 0-10 on ABC last year.
Like a true professional that he is, after an open, disastrous open, he comes back with a strike in the second frame. 28, 5'9", 140. A lot of muscle in that 140 pounds on the frame. Jacksonville, Oregon. Marshall now needs to really double here. Can cut Skidmore's lead to 12. Crossover leaving the 6-pin on the left lane.
Chris, the left lane hooks more than the right lane. We're using 59 and 60 for people at home, and Marshall just lost it. He throws that big hook ball, and he has to keep it wide.
And he is attacking much faster than normal. He is not a slow bowler in any shape or form, but he is really getting on the approach and perhaps a little bit too fast. Moves toward the line. Now Skidmore, perfect in 2 frames, shooting in the 3rd. This is our first match. The winner to meet Don Genalo, then Joe Hutchinson, and then Tommy Milton, the leader. Got them all but the 10 on the right lane.
Ball finishing late for Skidmore. Normally, you carry the 10-pin on what we call the wall shot. The ball drives the head pin to the sideboard and comes back across and gets the 10. No such break for Gary Skidmore, who is using a fingertip grip and a polyurethane bowling ball today.
Very cross lane now for the 10. Blew it. Blew it. Didn't come back. Skidded right into the... Oh.
Wife Sherry, who is quite a bowler, didn't like that. Sliding right by the outside edge. Just, Chris gave it too much room. And one thing we can watch is the approaches here. The approach area for the footwork is sometimes slippery, and a few of the players complained about it before we went on air. It may have had an effect on Skidmore's shot.
Where normally the pace slows down with the hot lights, live television. It seems like they're just hurrying everything at this point. 10-pin on the left lane now.
There's what we talked about, Chris. The right-hand lane could have happened, that light 10-pin, but there was a very solid hit, and we're always looking for some sort of excuse for solid pocket taps, but that one there, I think the ball was slightly airborne, and it reduces the spin and makes it harder to carry the 10-pin.
Impressive numbers for this week. That time he didn't miss, so it's a spare in the 4th frame and a 9-pin lead held by Gary Skidmore over Marshall Holman in our first match from the Showboat in Las Vegas. A break and then back to more action.
I used to think when I made 25 grand, I'd be on Easy Street.
I make double what my father made, and I've got less to show for it.
I thought I was working for the future. Truth is, I'm just staying even.
People need help with their money, and many of the people getting help the least are the people Sears has served for close to a century. Well, Sears believes that you deserve more, and that's why Sears has created the Sears Financial Network, built to give you straight talk and simple answers about your money. A network Sears built with some of the best brains in the business. Dean Witter for your investments. Coldwell Banker for your real estate. Allstate for your insurance. They're ready to serve you now in their own offices across the country. You'll get straight talk and simple answers. The Sears Financial Network. Trust us to make it work for you.
You students are giving me an education in indigestion.
Got the perfect thing. New tempo and acid.
Nothing's perfect.
Well, then tempo's 99% perfect.
Different. Soft.
Soft to dissolve fast and neutralize 99% of excess stomach acid. No antacid can top that.
Tempo's not chalky or gritty. Amazing.
See? Perfect.
99% perfect.
For gas, heartburn, acid indigestion, new soft tempo, 99% perfect.
Live from the Showboat, Marshall Holman now shooting in the fourth frame, trailing by 9. And here in the first match in the fourth frame, left the 4-pin. He started with an open, then a strike, a spare. Now he'll have to cover the 4 as he goes against Gary Skidmore of Albuquerque, New Mexico, a winner 2 weeks ago here on our telecast. There in the fourth as we replay a profile look at colorful Marshall Holman.
The finest natural talent that I've ever seen. Watch these movements, shoulders level, heads level. Look at that arm position. Watch the release, the deep knee bend, and tremendous extension all the way through the shot. He can move the pins. He has got the talent, Chris. He just has to apply it.
Now he's on the approach, the left lane. Perhaps that'll loosen Marshall up. He seemed tense earlier today. He truly did. We're looking at Gary Skidmore now. Gary opened with a double, had an open frame, missing the 10, marked with a spare in the fourth, now shooting in the fifth with a 10-pin lead. Left the 4-pin. Gary Skidmore from Albuquerque works part-time at his stepfather's pro shop. Good concentration. Last year, a little over 31,000. Spare in the fifth. Profile look at Gary Skidmore.
Skidmore has got that upright stance, a tall player, has a good solid push away, high backswing, and as he comes on through, he gets a tremendous loft out over the foul line. Good follow through. Skidmore, an upright style.
Who led the fourth and fifth rounds in this 56-game format.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I hit, baby split, 3-10. He is wearing a wireless microphone, and occasionally you may hear a comment from him.
Just pulls the ball. We saw what we call kind of bump out on the top of the backswing. When Gary Skidmore takes the ball away, he pulls it to the right and then tries to pull it back in and get it out in front of him. That particular time, he got too fast, left the 3-10 baby split.
Look at that concentration.
Up a little.
Beautifully done. It's a way to convert it. And if he can keep doing that, he has a good chance for the $27,000 first prize. Look at the runner-up purse, $1,400, $7,500, $6,000, and the loser of this first game will get $5,000. Holman. Big double, and Marshall Holman takes a 3-pin lead.
Marshall Holman is learning to control his temper and antics out on the lane. I think he's going to be a much better bowler for it, Chris, as soon as he gets his confidence up. On that particular shot, he gave it plenty of room. Crucial shot, takes the lead by 3 pins.
Last year, Marshall won the George Young High Average Award with a 216. Looking for a 3-bagger.
Two, 4, 10. The PBA washout, Chris, and you see that more on the tour than you will in league play because the players throw such a big hook. See where that ball of Holman's is, way out, almost to the moat, and he slides back and doesn't get the break, leaves the 2, 4, 10. A straight ball will not normally leave that type of split.
Odds for the professionals, 5-1.
Marshall checking the score count. He wants to see if he goes for this and happens to get just an 8 count instead of a 9, would put him farther behind where he needs more than a double to catch up.
All right, so he covers 2. His second open frame from a short lead to a 12-pin deficit now. Marshall Holman and Gary Skidmore have the conclusion of this first match live from Las Vegas after this.
Baseball star Jim Palmer.
I hate dandruff.
Can Tegrin control Jim Palmer's dandruff for 3 days without shampooing?
3 days?
Tegrin test, day 1.
Beautiful, so far.
Day 2.
Tegrin's still working. Good thing it's almost airtime.
day 3.
Tegrin controlled my dandruff 3 days.
Jim Palmer, looking good.
Try Tegrin. It passed the 3-day test.
Tegrin works day after day after day.
If you plan to redecorate your home, start with quality products from True Value hardware stores. Hang wallpaper or vinyl easily with Red Devil wall covering kits. Remove old finishes from wood fast with True Test strips them. Apply paint smoothly with a True Test paint pad kit. Then clean brushes quickly with True Test cleans them. And give old furniture a new look with a Form Beads refinishing kit. Spruce up your house with home decorating products from participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
In our first match on our telecast from Las Vegas, Gary Skidmore is bowling Marshall Holman. Skidmore in a 12-pin lead, converted to split, now shooting in the 7th frame.
Be there, be there, be there.
Another 10-pin, and Bo, as you said at the top of the telecast, that was going to happen.
I agree, Chris. The pins are 3-pound, 4-ounce pins, very light, and the players are trying to play that extreme outside line. With that much power and a 16-pound ball going in the pocket, a lot of solid wraps. If they carry those, the scores will be terrific. Pocket percentage for Skidmore so far is only 33%. He's carried 1 out of every 3 balls in the pocket.
That drew a big smile from Gary, who won $23,000 in our very first telecast this year in Anaheim. The winner today, $27,000 in a total purse of $150,000. Third richest on the tour here in 1983. Eighth frame strike. 133 through the 7th for Gary Skidmore. 11-pin lead at Marshall Holman as we look at the alternate veteran Pete Couture.
Pete steady all week long. 56-game format, picks up a good check.
8th frame strike. Marshall Holman, who led the first 3 rounds of this Showboat Invitational, having plenty of problems here in the first match.
Holman attacking with that shot, the best shot he threw in the match. He went after it. Watch his wrist action. Watch that head snap as he goes through the ball. This is a crucial shot. He can cut Skidmore's lead from 11 down to just 1 pin going into the 10th.
I asked both professionals what team they liked in the Super Bowl, and both chose Washington. Crossed over. Wobbly 6.
Skidmore studying the match. He knows he's still ahead by 11. At this position, the only person that can beat Skidmore is himself. He has to just stay clean and keep the pressure on Marshall.
The foundation frame, a spare for Marshall Holman.
Mr. and Mrs. Holman, as they flew down this morning from Medford, rooting for their son. The first time they ever watched Marshall bowl was over in Hawaii in 1975. Marshall defeated 4 opponents for the title.
Strike up, 9th frame. Now he leads by 21, a big one. Remember, in our format, as it has been for years, the winner advances. The winner of this first match will meet Don Genalo of North Merrrick, New York.
What confidence Skidmore is showing bowling. It's amazing after they win a few tournaments, and this fellow has really done well, how well they throw the ball under pressure. Right now, if Skidmore can mark in the 10th, he'll shut out Marshall Holman. The best Marshall can do is a 192. Skidmore going at a 203 pace.
Three in a row, and Gary Skidmore is going to advance, and Sherry, his wife, is delighted. Gary Skidmore, who has been a member of the PBA for 7 years, 3 as a touring pro, has 2 titles. So leaving the 4, 6, 7, it doesn't matter because Gary Skidmore has enough to oust Marshall Holman here in the first match. Skidmore with a 209. We'll have the complete final for you when we return. We're in Las Vegas at the Showboat Lanes. Coming up next, Gary Skidmore and Don Genalo. The Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after this message from one of our sponsors and station identification.
Honey, look at you. You're drenched.
Oh, are my sinuses stuffed?
You need Dristan long-lasting nasal mist. It's deep penetrating, so it'll help clear your sinus congestion.
Look, in just seconds, Dristan shrinks swollen nasal membranes, penetrates deep to break through nasal congestion, helps open sinus passages, and helps keep them drained all day.
Hey, that Dristan sure does penetrate. My sinuses are feeling better already.
Dristan long-lasting spray helps clear sinus congestion.
Charlie should have known trouble was coming. He had warnings, hard starting, hesitation, stalling. STP gas treatment might have helped. It tunes up your gas for better performance. Used regularly, it keeps water from building up in your tank, helps clear your entire fuel line, and cleans your carburetor for better mileage. Satisfaction guaranteed. Don't wait for the warning signs. Get STP gas treatment and tune up your gas.
Missiles draw superpowers into West German elections, Monday on ABC's World News Tonight.
Nevada Hippopotamus, a California furniture factory famous for selling fine oak furniture, has added another factory and showroom here in southern Nevada, selling the same high-quality, carefully crafted solid oak tables, chairs, desks, bar stools, and much more. Now you can buy at the same prices as furniture stores and department stores do across the nation. Nevada Hippopotamus Furniture Factory showroom means you buy factory direct. Open to the public Saturday and Sunday only from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. 4101 East Lone Mountain Road, North Las Vegas.
Sig's Superstars, Saturday late night.
The Professional Bowlers Tour telecast live in Las Vegas continues as we now move into our second match. Head-to-head, Marshall Holman was defeated by the man on the left, Gary Skidmore, and the number 3 finisher. After 56 grueling games, Don Genalo will now step in, shoot first on the left lane. 216 average on this championship pair. Beautifully done. Great extension.
Genalo has made the championship round one other time. That was last year in the Cleveland Open. I think you're going to hear a lot about this young man. He really has good form, determined player, and is getting a lot of experience. He'll be a winner.
Now Skidmore, who won the first game 209 to Holman's 179. 5 strikes. First frame strike. The match is all even here in Las Vegas. Results of the first match. Skidmore defeating Holman 209 to 179 on a normally high-scoring pair. 70 lanes in this portion of the Showboat complex. .6-0 career record in championship games.
Thank you.
Left to 610.
Seems to be having a little trouble with the left-hand lane. Now, these lanes have been played both inside towards the center, such as Genalo's played them, and outside. I've had the good fortune to bowl a couple of championship matches on this pair. I believe the inside line where Genalo is playing has the most margin of error if he can carry the pocket hits.
A lot of speed covering the 610 in the second frame. Skidmore now up Don Genalo, North Merrrick, New York. As far this year, $1,180. Last year, $31,000. Looking for his first title. Coming up high and practically crossing over, leaving the 3-6. .61, 150 pounds. Still even after 2 frames in our second match. The winner of this game will go against Joe Hutchinson in the semifinal. The winner of that against Tommy Milton, a non-winner. So it's this man, Genalo, and Milton in this field of 5 that have not won a PBA title. A 10.
Don Genalo, one of the most accurate bowlers to hit the tour in many years, and he felt that the big improvement he's going to make this year, and has helped him so far this year, is his ability to carry pocket hits. He says he rotates his wrist a little more at the release point, very similar to Holman. Hoped to carry some extra hits. That time he didn't catch it all.
Oh, and the second time this afternoon in Las Vegas that the channel has been found on trying to cover a 10.
Cross lane, the ball just slides off in the right-hand channel, and many times the players will not practice spares before they go on the championship round. Don Genalo did practice a 10-pin, Chris. He just missed.
Spare up, 3rd frame, Gary Skidmore. Spare in the 3rd. Earlier we asked Skidmore about his path to the PBA Tour.
My path started at a fairly young age. Started with some good success in high school and college. From there I joined the regional program and did fairly well. In 1981 I went to the National Resident Pro Championship, finished 3rd, and that was pretty much a deciding factor to go on tour, and I haven't regretted it a bit since.
Leaving a 10-pin, Gary Skidmore. Well-spoken, young man with a lot of poise.
He's made the adjustment on the left-hand lane. We saw him cross over in the 2nd frame. He moved his feet a couple of boards to the left to cut down the angle to the pocket. That ball settled in there just right.
.60 to the 3rd with a spare. Gary Skidmore has a 12-pin lead here in our second match live from the Showboat in Las Vegas. We'll be back after this.
They say it's not an American sport, but they forgot to tell him. Because he's got a dream that says one day the world's going to watch him jump farther than any other man in the Winter Games. In the past, it probably would have been just a dream. But we have an Olympic training center now in Colorado Springs, and he can go there and find out what he's doing right, what he's doing wrong, and how to fly off a mountainside farther than he's ever flown before. So maybe it's not just a dream. And maybe on a winter day in 1984, they'll stop saying it's not an American sport. This American dream was brought to you by Miller High Life, the sponsor of the U.S. Olympic Training Center.
Back again at the Showboat. Don Genalo shooting now in the 4th frame after an open in the 3rd, missing a 10-pin. He's on the right lane. See, Nelson, he really stays down at that line, and his follow-through just stays till the ball hits the pins.
As our television coordinator, Frank Esposito, said, he has classic style. Down, good knee bend, perpendicular to the foul line with that left sliding foot extension, and follow through towards the target. Those eyes, look at that concentration.
And with the double, he trails now by only 2. Our action line tracer.
You see the path of the ball right around the 2nd arrow. Ideal. Not the big break that we see from some of the other players. All 10 pins in a pit. Great shot by Don Genalo.
With a spare up, here is Skidmore shooting in the 5th. Needs to strike. Gary Skidmore, who was a voice major, baritone, at New Mexico State. You heard him speak a while ago, and it's understandable.
He's a good young man, good education. Both these players are college players. Don Genalo won the Association of College Union Institute All Events title at Penn State when he was going to school there, and that tournament was held in St. Louis.
high hit, the 3-6-10. This is Gary Skidmore, who shot a 209, 5 strikes, against Marshall Holman in the first game, who shot a 179. Last year's champion Jim Miller finished 31st. Last year's runner-up Pete Weber, 13th. Earl Anthony, 61st. Mark Roth, 65th. All right. And now it's Genalo. Also attended Robert Morris College in Pittsburgh. Major, computer science.
That shot for the lead. He went thin on the right-hand lane. The head pin went to the sideboard. Drove out the 2 and 5, left the 4. If he makes this simple spare, he'll trail by just 3 pins through 6 frames. Fingertip grip. Genalo also using the polyurethane bowling ball.
Spare in the 6th as we replay his shot profile.
A style very similar to Marshall Holman's 5-step delivery. Watch the arm swing. Look at that elbow locked. Look at the position of the left arm balancing the body. Watch the deep knee bend, slide right through the follow. And look at that follow through and steady head. Going to win a lot of money with form like that.
Trailing by 3. Oh, a high hit, 3-6-9-10 on the left.
The toughest spare for the pros on the tour. 3, 6, 9, 10. There's 2 bad things going to happen and 1 good. The good one, you can make it. The bad thing, you chop the 2-8 and leave the 6-10. Or you don't get up and carry the back 9 pin.
Well, a little lesson on how it should be done. Genalo trailing by 7 as he goes against Gary Skidmore, who won the first match over Marshall Holman, 209 to 179. More bowling action live from the Showboat after this.
Nothing's tougher on trucks or tires than Slam Bang off-road racing, where last year Firestone and Manny Esquera in a new Ford Ranger put Firestone ATX off and on-road light truck radials to the test. Firestone and Super Manny were winners all the way at the Parker 400, Baja San Felipe 250, the classic Mint 400. It was first to the checkered flag, miles ahead of the nearest competition. The Firestone ATX, a competition-proven light truck radial, available now at your nearest Firestone retailer. Firestone ATX, wide flotation tread, polyester cord body, 2 steel belts, winning in off-road racing, a winner for your pickup or 4x4. At Firestone, we're building radial tires street legal, competition tough, and the word's getting around.
Next week, we're deep in the heart of Texas as the pros travel to the Lone Star State for stop number 4, the $125,000 Quaker State Open. Art Trask will be on hand to defend his title in the race for the $20,000 top prize. That's live at 3:30 Eastern Time, here on ABC.
Back again at the vast Showboat. Gary Skidmore has a 7-pin lead in our second match against Don Genalo. Skidmore now shooting in the 7th frame. Skidmore, who thinks the Redskins will win tomorrow. His opponent, Don Genalo, picked the Dolphins. Oh, no. A 7-10 here on the right lane. And this is the man that won 2 weeks ago the Miller Classic as we replay the shot. Almost disbelief on the face of that 28-year-old from Albuquerque, New Mexico. From the back, look. Nothing came even close. Nor will Skidmore. But he covers the 10-pin. The winner of this match will meet the man that Nelson Burton Jr. is with right now. Bo?
Chris, most of the players use 16-pound balls in the tour, but the man with me right here on my right is using a 15-pounder. Joe, why have you changed?
Well, I went to the lighter weight balls, Bo, trying to, for a little bit more deflection. I was leaving a lot of ring and 10s last year, solid 8s. I'm still leaving my share of them, but not as many. I'm getting a little bit more slaps on the 10.
All right. Thank you, Joe.
All right, Skidmore on the left lane leaves the 4-7. And with Hutchinson saying a 15-pound ball, I feel more secure with mine. Okay. Probably many of you use that weight. Whatever you use, enjoy it. Now cross lane for the 4-7. Skidmore starts with a spare and trailing by 6 pins. And we're getting down to the end as wife Sherry watches. So it's Genalo up now. He is a bachelor, 24 years old. Grew up idolizing Dave Davis because of his smooth stroke and Earl Anthony for his concentration. Beautifully done with a spare up in the 7th, a strike in the 8th for Genalo.
Genalo, who has never won a match in a championship round, going against a man who has never lost. Skidmore is perfect. 7 wins, 0 losses. Genalo has never saw the winner's circle. If he can strike here, he'll put the pressure on Skidmore. Genalo going at a 193 pace. Gary Skidmore, 187.
Oh, it looked like his best shot.
Without a doubt, except for the results. The solid 8. Ball hits the 1-3. Now watch it after it runs through the 5-pin. The ball drives. Now, ideal position. This is where you like it. 1-3. Now watch the 5-pin. Chop straight back off the 8. Chris, solid 8, just overpowered it. That 15-pound ball of Hutchinson's might have carried that.
Okay. Too many of those and you talk to yourself.
They say you should live in the pocket to score, but when you get the solid taps, who knows? Though very light plastic pins we use today sometimes are tough to knock down.
Now a big shot for Skidmore. Trailing by 6, a spare up in the 8th. 9th frame stroke.
Come on, come on.
And listen to him. You heard him say, come on, come on.
Of the young players that have come on the tour, Gary Skidmore has performed as well in the clutch as any man I've seen so far. We talked about it when he won the Miller's Classic the first week out. He was aggressive in the match play in the 42 games of the regular tournament. He was there in the clutch when he needed it in the championship round. We're coming up now in the 10th frame. He trails by 6. He needs a strike on this ball to take the lead.
Notice how carefully he places himself on the approach and finds the spot and pulls the trigger.
Tucked it again.
Well, you all know how he feels about it.
Tugged it again. The tendency of all bowlers is to raise up at the foul line. Pulls the ball, cuts through, leaves the 3, 6, 10. Now, the match is not over. If he converts this and gets a strike, he'll have 187. He'll force Don Genalo to mark in the 10th. Skidmore needs 6 pins or better on this ball to force Don Genalo to get a mark in the 10th frame. It's not over yet.
The loser will get 6,000. The winner moves up a chance at 27.
Of course.
Came, he thinks, a little bit too late, but it's a 187.
Genalo with a 6-pin lead. Needs a mark and a good count to win this first match in the championship round.
Right, there's that mark, and Genalo, a non-winner, has eliminated Gary Skidmore, who won 2 weeks ago. So it'll be Genalo moving in against Joe Hutchinson, the 33-year-old pro from Scranton, Pennsylvania. And the first smile from Don Genalo. So for Don Genalo, the winner, it's a 203. For the loser, Gary Skidmore, $187 and $6,000. So Genalo remains. Stepping in will be smiling Joe Hutchinson from Scranton. That match after this.
Today you need an oil this good. You need Quaker State.
When your engine's this new, you gotta protect your investment. You need an oil this good.
When your engine's this old, it needs extra care. You need an oil this good. Small engines work so hard, they demand an oil this good.
These motor oils are refined exclusively from Pennsylvania grade crude. Quaker State is so good, it's America's best-selling motor oil.
New cars,
old cars, small cars.
Today you need Quaker State. You need an oil this good.
What a joint. You get acid digestion from reading the menu. Apple pie with salt on it. When to top it off, they might give you an antacid with salt in it.
Now there's new Losal, so low in sodium it's considered salt-free, and Losal is twice as effective as the leaning tablet.
I mean, who needs salt to make an antacid work? So get good-tasting Losal. Hey, where are you going, out to lunch?
New low-sodium Losal from Phillips.
Give your stomach more respect.
Here's how to save hundreds of dollars on new furniture. Don't buy any.
Homer's right. New chairs would cost $400. I'm refinishing this whole set for less than $35. Formby's furniture refinisher is saving me a fortune.
For less than $25, Formby's can turn this into this. Formby's is saving me a fortune.
Formby's dissolves old varnish, lacquer, and shellac without scraping or sanding. Formby's furniture refinisher can save you a fortune.
Homer Formby. No one knows wood as good.
The Supermen who ride the super bikes are back. Plus, daring surfers compete in tandem. And downhill skiing from the site of the 1984 Winter Olympics on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Next.
Looking for his first win, Don Genalo has defeated Gary Skidmore 203 to 187, and he's a very classic type bowler. Nelson Burton Jr.'s tip today, the Rolaids tip of the week on bowling, has to do with rolling the ball at the line, which he does not recommend. Getting it out there for more leverage and more strike power. Here's Bo.
The Professional Bowler's Tip of the Week is brought to you by Rolaids.
Grounders can get you a scratch hit in baseball, but they'll leave you scratching your head in bowling. By grounders, I mean balls that are rolled prematurely behind the foul line. Now, a bowler who rolls a grounder loses both action and accuracy. You can get by losing one or the other, but if you lose both, you're in trouble. On today's tip, we're going to show you a way the towel can improve your bowling. A grounder can actually start forming on the first step in the approach. Instead of pushing the ball away from the body on the first step, I've carried it. This interrupts my natural timing and causes me to rush the foul line. Any movement of the towel demonstrates that I've rolled a grounder. Now that I realize my mistake, I can adjust. I am pushing the ball away at the correct time. This helps me improve the timing in my approach, and this time the towel does not move. Next time you go bowling, take a towel along with you, and you can check yourself and give yourself a lesson to make sure you're getting the ball out over the line properly.
Roger Staubach for Rolaids.
How do you spell relief? R-O-L-A-I-D-S. I hate to admit it, but I eat a lot of greasy foods.
For acid indigestion, I spell it R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Rolaids really does spell relief.
Like a sponge, Rolaids antacid medicine consumes 100% of the acid required to give millions 100% relief.
How do you spell relief?
I spell relief R-O-L.
A-I-D-S. All right. For millions of Americans, Rolaids spells 100% relief.
Ready now at the Showboat in Las Vegas for our third match, the semifinal. The winner to go into the finals against the tournament leader, Tommy Milton. So our third match, as a result of finishing second overall after 56 games, Joe Hutchinson steps in to meet Don Genalo, who defeated Gary Skidmore. Skidmore had won the first game over Marshall Holman, 209 to 179, and Genalo shot a 203 to Skidmore's 187. Hutchinson's first shot. And Hutchinson of Scranton gets everything but the 7.
Joe Hutch, who uses the 15-pound bowling ball and a left-handed grip. The reason he uses that, he used to put a lot of pressure on his tendons in his forearm and wrist. And he drilled that left-handed pitch, made it much easier to throw it, has no problems anymore.
And the 15-pound ball covers the 7-pin with ease. We're in Las Vegas, and so is Joe Antonora, the commissioner of the PBA, coming in from Akron, Ohio.
Dynamic, fair man, Joe Antonora. Great leader.
Genalo opens with a powerful strike. Genalo averaged 216 on this championship pair. Hutchinson, 232.5. And we've had different winners in each of our first 2 games. So what'll happen here? Big step toward the $27,000 first prize. So with that double, it immediately puts the pressure on 33-year-old Joe Hutchinson. Next week, we move to Grand Prairie, Texas, a great spot for the $125,000 Quaker State Open. Then to Miami, Florida, the Greater Miami Sunshine Open, the Rolaids Open in St. Louis, in the suburb of Florissant, the $150,000 True Value Open in Peoria, Illinois, February 26th. 5'10" Joe Hutchinson with his first strike.
Comical Joe Hutch using the polyester bowling ball, 5'10" and 145-pound, in excellent physical condition. Does some weightlifting, jogging, and really stays in top shape.
Over the years, he has won 4 PBA titles. Veteran of Vietnam. Four, 6, 7, 10.
All the players have had trouble with the left-hand lane. It was a downfall of Marshall Holman. It eventually did in Gary Skidmore, and here is Joe Hutch right through the heart. Big tonk, as we call it, 4, 6, 7, 10. He'll just go for 2 of them, save the pin count.
Spare strike and an open frame for Hutchinson.
These 2 players, Chris, rolled to a 265 tie in the position round, the 56th game last night. An exciting match. They won't be that high today.
Another pocket hit. 3 strikes in a row now, and a 34-pin lead for Don Genalo of North Merrrick.
The strategy of Don Genalo. He's going to play both lanes the same, 11th or 12th boards, which are 1 or 2 boards inside the second arrow, and on lane 60, the right-hand lane, just tighten his feet up 1 board to cut down the angle. It seems to not hook as much as the left lane.
Four-bagger. So with Genalo perfect here in our semifinal match through 4 frames and a 44-pin lead, we'll take a break.
Every 20 seconds, someone joins a credit union. Because unlike a bank, a credit union belongs to its members, and its only interest is their best interests. So credit unions return the earnings to their members. And together, they form a financial system so solid, it's supported by over $75 billion. America's credit unions.
Over 40 million strong.
Whether you just turned 10 or just turned pro, there's a Brunswick ball built for you in the weight you need, the colors you want, for pinpoint accuracy, explosive power, built to take out pins like a charge of dynamite. That's Brunswick. Now get a $3 rebate from Brunswick on the new Crown Jewel, Brunswick's plastic powerhouse. It's a dynamite deal.
The Showboat Hotel, Casino, Lanes, and now a golf course, again hosting our PBA telecast. 4th frame for Hutchinson. And a high hit and a 3, 6, 10. His opponent, 4 strikes in 4 frames, and Joe's bewildered.
He wanted to play the outside line so he could carry the back pins. That was the strategy with Skidmore. That was the strategy with Hutchinson. to avoid those solid taps. Also, Wayne Webb put on a tremendous performance here in winning the Showboat title in 1978. So they tried that line.
All right. Earlier we had an opportunity to ask Joe Hutchinson what he had changed in his game.
Two things I've changed this year. First of all, I've started a group of flexibility exercises that have improved my coordination. And second of all, I've dropped my sponsor. I'm backing myself, and there's just no substitution for that hunger, that feeling of bowling for number one.
2-4-7-8, just sliding by. Hutch playing that wide outside line. Too much speed on that. Now watch where the ball is. Out about the 5th board, about 10 feet from the pocket. Didn't quite get the break he desired. Head pin goes to the sideboard. If he had just got a little more of it, he might have carried them all out. Now he has a tough spare.
Nope. Joe Hutchinson of Scranton. Another open frame and a 60-pin lead for Don Genalo, who now is shooting in the 5th frame with 4 strikes in a row. All but the 10. So the string ends for Don Genalo. Winner of this match will meet Tommy Milton from St. Petersburg, Florida. Earlier, we asked Genalo about his outside occupation away from the lanes.
When I'm away from tour, I help my brother with the ambulance service that we're partners in. What we do is service wheelchair patients, take them to clinics and hospitals, whatever, and that's the income from that has helped me back myself out on tour.
What a worthwhile occupation.
Sounds like a good parlay.
Don Genalo, whose deceased father was in the Dodger baseball organization. And now Joe Hutchinson, who has really had his problems, shooting in the 6th frame.
Joe right out on the 1 board, trying to get that sharp angle of the pocket. What happens when you lose the line from out there, it's very difficult to control it. The ball breaks so sharply in the last 10 feet. If you throw it a little hard, it slides by. If you ease up, you get the big split like Joe had in the 3rd frame.
There in the 6th frame as we replay his shot in profile.
You have to be strong to have a form like Joe Hutchinson. Watch his shoulders a little too far forward, elbow bent. Look at that awkward position, then rotates back into a real fine position at the bottom of the swing. Good wrist action, a little stiff with the knee bend. The farther you can stay under the ball, the more lift you can get on it.
His 2nd strike, crowd loving it. That came in the 7th frame, but Don Genalo still leading by 59 pins in our 3rd match, the semifinal prior to the final. We'll be back.
From imagination and engineering comes a whole new generation of Zenith System 3 television. The sharpest picture Zenith has ever created. Remote control convenience that puts over 100 broadcast and cable channel capability at your fingertips. And handsome new contemporary cabinet designs. New Zenith System 3. Part of the new generation from Zenith, where the quality goes in before the name goes on.
After a night below freezing, after 3 hours with the lights on, after all these years, people still have more confidence in Sears Die-Hard than any other battery you can buy all over America. At Sears Tire and Auto Centers, when we install a Die-Hard, we install confidence, day and night. Sears.
The Supermen who ride the Super Bites are back. Plus, daring surfers compete in tandem. And downhill skiing from the site of the 1984 Winter Olympics on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Next.
And next, Bo, you'll especially appreciate the Tandem Surfing Championship
at Makaha. The symmetrical waves is really a lot of fun. Great show.
7th frame. Crossing over. Ah, Mr. Versatility. Giving him a double and a lead of 69 pins. He is on today as we look from behind.
Watch the 3-pin go to the sideboard, get between the 6-10, and get a tremendous break, especially for a pro when he can carry a crossover. Extends his lead to 69 pins. Match well in hand for Don Genalo, a possible 279.
Three-bagger. He opened with 4, marked with a spare, and perfect sense. 79 pin lead. Capacity crowd here at the Showboat. Showboat Establishment and Complex, away from the strip itself. Very successful operation. And Joe doubles, cutting the lead to 69, but it's getting late.
Best Hutch can do is a 210. Genalo right now going at a 249 pace. Outside chance, but Hutch must strike on this ball.
But a 10 pin on the left lane for the 33-year-old.
The outside line of Joe Hutch, outside the first arrow, then swings it out right along the edge of the moat, gets to the first board, then snaps it 18 boards up to the pocket. Didn't get a break, left this week 10.
Spare in the ninth for Joe Hutchinson. Now Genalo. 3 in a row, shooting in the 9th frame. 6 feet 1, 150 pounds. Four-bagger. And an 80-pin lead. Remember, he defeated Gary Skidmore, shooting a 203 with 7 strikes. Skidmore shot a 187 and earned $6,000 this week. One of 420 bowlers that started here. You're looking at him, Genalo. Leaving the 10 pin, and of course you're looking at the winner of the semifinal match, Don Genalo. So coming up next here at the Showboat, it'll be Genalo going against Tom Milton, the tournament leader, for the $27,000 first prize. The Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after this message from one of our sponsors. We'll cover the 10 pin for the spare. And for Don Genalo, he's going to be in the 250s, and a terrific victory for him and a chance at the biggest prize for him ever.
Here's something that you can only get from Atari. It's not a new video game or a home computer program. It's the Atari Service Program. Only Atari backs up its video games and home computers with a nationwide network of over 1,500 Atari service centers. Look in the yellow pages or call the Atari helpline. We'll give you service information and answer any kind of question about using your Atari home computer.
Atari Service.
We answer your call for help.
Hey, over here, over here.
Charlie should have known trouble was coming. He had warnings: hard starting, hesitation, stalling. STP gas treatment might have helped. It tunes up your gas for better performance.
Used regularly, it keeps water from building up in your tank, helps clear your entire fuel line, and cleans your carburetor for better mileage. Satisfaction guaranteed.
Don't wait for the warning signs. Get STP gas treatment and tune up your gas.
Herman Woukes, The Winds of War. Premieres Sunday, February 6th.
Maybe you're not in Earl Anthony's league, but your game is bound to be fun at Sam's Town's beautiful 56-lane bowling center. There's the latest Brunswick equipment, AS-80 automatic scoring, and the 2000 systems laminate lanes. Relax, enjoy your game. Leave the scoring to us, and leave your children in our supervised child's play area. Sam's Town Hotel, Gambling Hall, and Bowling Center, Boulder Highway in Ellis.
Factory Direct way to buy fine solid oak furniture at the Nevada Hippopotamus Factory Showroom enables Southern Nevadans to buy at wholesale, the same prices that furniture and department stores across the nation pay. Choose from hippo-nose trussel tables, round oval tables with sled-based chairs and slanted arms, straight-edge trussel tables, or beautiful channel-back chairs. All Hippopotamus Furniture has finger joint construction and easy care finishes. Open Saturday and Sundays only from 10 to 5 p.m. Nevada Hippopotamus, 4101 East Lone Mountain Road, North Las Vegas.
At the movies, Saturday evening, 7:30.
Genalo has defeated Hutchinson 256 to 176 with 8 strikes. 8 strikes. He's had a tremendous third game, and he will now meet Tom Milton for the $27,000 first prize. The man that finished 233rd here is another great striker. Imagine that, rolled a 900 series. Oh boy, 3 300s in a row. Our old friend Glenn Allison and Bo earlier this month had a chance to do a little piece about Glenn's performance.
The La Habra 300 Bowl on Whittier Boulevard in La Habra, California, nearly 30 miles east of downtown Los Angeles, is a fairly typical contemporary bowling center. 32 lanes, normally occupied by somebody from its 8:30 a.m. opening time to its 2 a.m. close. But on July 1st of this past summer, a feat occurred in the Thursday night Anchor Girl Trio League that brought great notoriety to this establishment and to the man involved. His name is Glenn Allison, a 52-year-old member of the American Bowling Congress Hall of Fame. Glenn had enjoyed a moderate degree of success on the PBA Tour, having won 5 titles. But on July 1st, he would challenge one of the sporting world's most hallowed accomplishments, the high series record of 886, set in 1939 by Allie Brandt, a feat many placed next to Bob Beeman's long jump in the 1968 Olympics and Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak. The lanes were 13 and 14, and when he hit his first 12 strikes, he had his 40th career 300 game. Then came 12 more. Perfect game number 2, and finally 12 more for a record 900, the ultimate achievement in bowling, and Glenn remembers that night.
You always have pressure in a 300 game, and I had some pressure after I got the 9th strike of the first game, and then I struck out for the first one, and then that one's all over. So I started again in the second game, but I never dreamed of the second 300. And again, after the 9th one, there was some more pressure, but the pressure in the third game was, the last 4 shots was unbelievable.
Allison's feat has received appropriate recognition, from the marquee outside La Habra Bowl to a photo of Glenn over lanes 13 and 14. However, all this attention is unofficial in the eyes of the American Bowling Congress. The ABC refuses to sanction the series on the grounds that the lane conditions that evening were illegal.
There may be more dressing toward the center of the lane after any application, provided it increases and decreases gradually to the edges. In this case, the reports revealed that the preponderance of dressing was concentrated in the center of the lane.
I feel like I bowled the score on a legitimate condition. I would love to have it in the record books for immortality. I believe I have the blessings of 95% of the bowling world and probably 100% of the non-bowling world.
Okay, Glenn Allison, our old friend, and of course he knows he did it. There you see the 3 games. Genalo, 2 wins. He goes against Milton. And then from Las Vegas, we're going to New York, and our colleague, Jim McKay. Jim?
We're live now at ABC Sports Control in New York. I'm Jim McKay, and in college basketball action this afternoon, number 3 ranked North Carolina, a strong contender now for the number 1 spot after UCLA's loss to Alabama last night. You know, UCLA did lose 70-67. Well, North Carolina today used a career-high 39 points by Michael Jordan to hold off a very stubborn Georgia Tech 72-65 in an Atlantic Coast Conference game. The defending national champion Tar Heels raised their season record to 17-3. They're 6-0 in ACC play. Now, here's a good story. Debbie Armstrong led the American women's ski team with a 5th-place finish in the downhill at Les Diablerets, Switzerland. It's the best finish for the 19-year-old who's in her first full season on the World Cup circuit. She was actually out last year, but she broke her leg. Another American, Maria Marisic, who scored a second in downhill competition last week, unfortunately suffered a broken collarbone today. She'll be out for about 6 weeks. Coming up later on ABC's Wide World of Sport, don't forget today we're going to be seeing this year's edition of the Super Bikers. That's where they bring together some of the top riders in the world from the different branches of motorcycle racing, put them together on a specially designed course, one of a kind, that combines some of the elements of all the different disciplines of motorcycle racing and try to find out who is the best all-around guy. Also on Wide World, we'll have international tandem surfing and a report on World Cup downhill skiing from Sarajevo, Yugoslavia. So that's the story for now and for later. Bowling continues in Las Vegas. Let's go back to my ABC colleague, Chris Schenkel. Chris?
And from the city with no clocks, the city where games of chance are really important, $41,000 at stake, 2 professional bowlers in the Showboat Invitational. The tournament leader, Tom Milton now, bowling his only game, 6'3", 200 pounds, going against Don Genalo, who has already won 2. The winner will get $27,000, runner-up 14. And after the long wait and some practice, Big Tom Milton of St. Petersburg, Florida, opens with a strike. Now Janela. Who had 8 strikes in his last game, 7 in the previous, shoots on the right lane. All even, Bo.
Genalo with that ideal 5-step delivery, a little shuffle at the start, then gets into a smooth rhythm. Each step a little longer than the other, and then watch this knee bend. Down underneath it, the shoulders balanced right over the fulcrum of the body. Absolutely perfect. Genalo, who has a carry percentage so far today above 80%. That means he's carrying 4 out of every 5 times he hits the pocket.
So it's a double and a pressure double for Genalo. Tom Milton, the tournament leader, opened with a strike. On this pair, championship pair, averaged 183.
Neither player eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions. One of them will make that trip to Akron in April.
So we're all even after 2 frames. Milton, who did not cash in last week's AC Delco Classic, placed 107. He was in various positions in this long format this week: 45th, 90th, 45th, 19th, 18th, 5th, then moved to the tournament lead.
Nice steady bowler. In Anaheim at the Miller Classic, Tom Milton against me in the first game of the finals, Chris, rolled a Glenn Allison. A perfect game. He's tough.
3 in a row.
He came to play, didn't he, Chris?
He certainly did. And Genalo has proven already what he can do with 2 wins. Another 10-pin, right lane.
Watch the second pin on the left-hand part of your screen, the 6-pin. Watch it just disappear around the 10. Tough break for Genalo. He could have brought the match to even with a turkey on that shot.
Spare in the 3rd for Genalo. Just joined us. The first match today was won by Gary Skidmore, 209 to Marshall Holman's 179. Then Genalo defeated Skidmore 203 to 187. And Genalo defeated Hutchinson in the last match 256 to 176. One on each lane now.
I really like the way this young man plays this game. He keeps the ball in play. Any sport that involves a ball, whether it be basketball, baseball, bowling, football, accuracy is still 95% of the game. This man keeps the ball in play. He doesn't beat himself.
2 strikes, 2 spares for Genalo, while his opponent, the tournament leader, has 3 in a row. When we come back, it'll be Milton shooting in the 4th frame. In the meantime, we're going to get a message from one of our sponsors and then return.
I'm Pete Rose, and I'm convinced Grecian formula helps me play younger. Yeah, play younger. When I started getting gray, I felt sort of out of shape. Gray hair can sure change how a guy feels about himself. So I got some Grecian, real easy to use, and in a couple of weeks, no more gray.
Grecian formula. It does away with as much gray as you want, some of it or all of it. And the change is so gradual and so natural looking, no one notices.
Feeling in shape is important. Get rid of your gray with Grecian formula. You'll play younger, too.
If you want to know just where you stand on all your family insurance, check with State Farm.
I'm State Farm Agent Terry Kropp. Today's changing economy is affecting a lot of people's protection. That's why families and individuals alike feel so reassured when they get the State Farm Family Insurance Checkup. It doesn't cost anything, and we'll go over your life, health, home, and car insurance. Ask a State Farm agent about the Family Insurance Checkup.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We're in the final match, 27,000 to the winner, 14 to the loser. Tournament leader, Tom Milton from St. Petersburg, Florida, shooting in the 4th frame. He has 3 strikes, leading by 12 over Genalo. A 4-bagger for Milton. Earlier we asked him about, from past experiences in championship rounds, what are advantages of being #1?
Well, for my previous time, I was the 2nd seed, and Mark Roth was the 1st, and he came in and selected the first, the preferable lane of the 2, the one that was more playable, and it definitely worked to his advantage, and I hope it also works to my advantage today.
And what he means by playable, the one that fits his particular style the best. Right now, there he's been perfect, solid in the pocket, all 4 shots.
27-year-old who started bowling at age 12. Has a regional title to his credit in Valdosta, Georgia. Count them, 5 in a row for Tom Milton, taking a 32-pin lead over Don Genalo. Genalo is up. He'll be shooting in the 5th.
What a super touch by Milton. The last time he was up on the left-hand lane, the 3rd frame, he sent it real wide, got the ball back. That time he didn't send it as wide. It still held. What a great touch. Genalo feeling the pressure of 5 strikes in a row by Tom Milton. Tries to push the ball up. Doesn't want to send it too wide. Get a wide count. Got a good break. Has an easy spare.
45 of his 56 games, 200 plus. Holman with a double, and now marking with 3 spares. A 33-pin lead by Milton.
Chris, you said that the 420-man PBA field, the Women's International Bowling Congress, will be bowling here at the Showboat with 71,500 women coming in April and May. So that's quite a tournament they have coming up at the Showboat.
And another 10-pin. Bo, would you repeat the total number bowling?
Well, 106 lanes here at the Showboat. The women will field 71,500 players, and they turn down 15,000 entries. What a tremendous tournament for the women.
Well, I'd like to have the hairspray concession. Okay. Another spare for Don Genalo. He's from North Merrrick, New York. And now re-rack called for by Milton, and tournament director all these years, Harry Golden. And as the re-rack is granted, you'll see an orange part of a wetsuit on the right elbow and arm of Tom Milton.
Chris, he heard it in a Fremont tournament 2 years ago, just warming up, tore a nerve in there. Wetsuit keeps the area warm, lets the blood flow more freely.
He's pulling for the Dolphins. You'd almost think that orange was for them. And now Tom Milton is halfway.
Chris, I'll show you what that armband accomplishes and what it changed in Tom Milton's style. Check how short his backswing is. He runs right back in here. Tom Milton 2 years ago had a backswing up in here. Now that's not too bad, but what it does hurt, it hurts his speed control. Tom used to be able to throw real hard on some lanes. Right now, when the lanes get too dry, he struggles. Right now, he's perfect.
7th frame. Five more, and he will be richer by $50,000. True Value, one of our major sponsors, and a good one. If he can do 12 in a row, he will get the True Value prize. Genalo trailing by 54. 4 spares in a row, now shooting in the 7th. Third strike and 7 frames for Genalo.
Don Genalo in a must situation as we look at the hand of Tom Milton. He's got a wristband on. He has what we call a rosin bag in his hand to keep the perspiration down. And that naturally, that's support for his elbow. But for Genalo, if he strikes here, he's still in the match. He can still bowl a 246 game, but he has to keep it going right now.
And it's a 4-pin. Throughout this 56-game format, there were 2 300 games, Jay Robinson and Randy Haregrove.
See the dejection in Don Genalo's face. He knows it's all over now. It's just a matter of watching Tom Milton perform, see how far he can go.
Spare in the 8th for Genalo. This is the final game. Ending at 7, a 3-pin standing. Appreciation from the capacity crowd here at the Showboat Lanes in Las Vegas. This is how he failed to cover them all.
Saw that short backswing of Tommy Milton. That's the one little problem he has still, is quite enough speed. He threw it in the right area, but just too slow. Milton was staying up around 17 miles an hour, which is a nice firm speed to have on a bowling ball. When you throw it a little slower, it breaks too much and lose control. But he's got the match well in hand. He still has a possible 279.
Tom Milton, who marked to the spare in the 8th, now a strike in the 9th, and Genalo is up.
Let's watch the big hook ball of Tom Milton. He's playing around the second arrow where we saw Don Genalo throw the ball, but he's going all the way out wide like Joe Hutchinson. He's playing both inside and outside with the same shot. Tremendous arc.
Strike in the 9th. Though we often talk about shut-ins and how sports on television is great for them. There's one in particular I want to wish well at St. Thomas Hospital in Nashville. He's the man that pioneered pro basketball and pro football on television as a network executive, Thomas J. McMahon, awaiting open heart surgery, and he's the man that brought me to New York. So I hope he does well on Tuesday. Only the 4-pin for Genalo.
Don Genalo will be the 2-0s, a new winner, Tom Milton. He felt in his first championship match he bowled last year, Mark Roth beat him with experience. He learned his lesson well. He's going away with at least $27,000 and a whack at the Firestone.
Two Miami Dolphin rooters, 2 non-winners. And I have a feeling, Bo, that our statistician Palmer Falgren of Boca Raton, Florida, is rooting for that same team. A 206 for Don Genalo, who had 2 victories coming into this final match. But $14,000 is a big payday for Don Genalo. But the big man at 6'3", 200 pounds, 27 years old. leaving a 3-6, and we have a winner of the Showboat Invitational. Longest stop on the PBA Tour over all these years here at the Showboat. Tom Milton wins his first tournament.
You know, a lot of people think Billy and I argue all the time. Actually, we agree on just about everything. Right, Bill?
You betcha, George.
We even drink the same beer.
Light beer from Miller. Light's got 1/3 less calories than the regular beer, and it's less filling.
And the best thing is it tastes so great.
No, George, the best thing is less filling.
No, Bill, it tastes great.
Less filling, George.
Billy, it tastes great.
Less filling, George.
Billy?
Yeah, George.
You're fired.
Oh, not again.
Light beer from Miller. Everything... Haven't we done this before?
It's so easy to catch someone's eye, and so easy to lose it. It's so easy to get their attention, and so easy to lose it.
Why let the itch of dandruff be what they notice when it's so easy to control with Head & Shoulders? Head & Shoulders leaves your hair soft, shiny, captivatingly clean. Lose that itch and keep their attention with Head & Shoulders.
It's so easy.
Raise your hand. You got it. Raise your hand. You know it. You feel confident, secure. Raise your hand. You feel dry now. Raise your hand. You know why now. Raise your hand if you're sure.
You've got it. That sure, secure, confident feeling. Because each Sure gives you enough protection to help feel dry all day.
Confident, confident, dry and secure. Raise your hand if you're sure.
The Supermen who ride the super bikes are back. Plus, daring surfers compete in tandem. And downhill skiing from the site of the 1984 Winter Olympics on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Next.
Just a few minutes now till ABC's Wide World of Sports. Right now, we're again live at ABC Sports Control and a major college basketball upset. Get this one. Chris Schenkel, unfortunately, will be interested in this. Iowa defeated Indiana today. Number 2 ranked Indiana beaten 63-48. Iowa just about killed them. Another score, Villanova ranked number 11 defeated number 18 ranked Syracuse 83-75. Georgetown won today, but they just about pulled it out. Georgetown ranked number 15 defeated that tough Boston College team, remember, that had defeated St. John's a week or so ago. Georgetown beat Boston College 69-67 today, a 2-point game. Number 16 ranked Minnesota beat Wisconsin by 63-58. And here's one where unranked Iowa State defeated number 20 ranked Oklahoma State 73-64. Wide World of Sports coming up, but again, the big score, Chris, unfortunately, Iowa whipped Indiana today 63-48. Ready now for the last few minutes at the bowling today in Las Vegas. Again, let's go to Chris Schenkel.
Ah, the joy of victory. From St. Petersburg, Florida, the big professional. Congratulations to you, Tom. You're a lot richer.
Yeah, that's for sure.
What was the pressure like standing off waiting while Genalo had won 2 matches?
Well, I was just hoping that my shot would stay the same. I felt like if mine did, I had a good shot at winning.
Is the orange of the armband any significance?
Not particularly. It's just a, I don't know.
I noticed for the Dolphins.
No, it's just a more favorite color for me.
All right. Are you pulling for the Dolphins?
Well, I guess if I have to choose, yeah. That's for sure. Being from Florida, I got to pick them.
We don't know whether you want to bet what Mr. Joe Kelly has in his hand on the Dolphins or the Redskins, but nevertheless, I'm proud to present a pioneer here in Las Vegas, man who still flies his own airplane, the president and chief executive officer of the Showboat Lanes, Mr. Joe Kelly. Joe, I know you have 2 items you'd like to present for this first-time winner.
Well, first of all, I want to present this trophy to you here. It's, I believe this is your first big one to win, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Well, this is on behalf of the Showboat. And also, here's a little check for $27,000. Hope that brightens your day. And you had a good roll going there. Looked like you were going to roll for the big one, but you fouled up there on that one.
I think I did cut that one a little short, that's for sure. I appreciate it. I'd like to thank all the people here at Showboat for sponsoring the event. They've been very friendly. You fans have been great, that's for sure. And I just hope I can win some more.
You're eligible now for the Firestone.
Yeah, that'll be a nice, it's an extra week away from home, but that's all right. I'll settle for that.
Are you going to Grand Prairie, Texas?
Yes, sir. I hope to do just as well there.
Congratulations, Tom. Now let's go to Bo Burton with the runner-up.
Chris, the man who I had to learn something that last match, what did you think about it?
I learned you got to start with 7 in a row in the last game. There's really nothing you can do about it. The man bowled a great game. Got to give him all the credit in the world. I caught a couple taps.
Well, you kept it in play, and Tom Milton's a great champion. I'm sure Don Genalo, with the experience he got today and the $13,000 second place, you'll be in pretty good shape and back in the winner's circle, Chris, in the near future.
All right, $14,000 for Don Genalo. And Tom, had you played any other sports growing up?
I played a little soccer in junior high school, a little basketball in high school, but mostly I just stuck with bowling all the way from like when I was 12 years old on.
Who started you?
A lady back home by the name of Arlene Levine. She started me just walked in one Saturday afternoon and started bowling in the league.
What's your advice for junior bowlers?
Keep at it and just don't ever give up. I don't really just enjoy it while you can, because once it gets out here, it can get a little tougher, that's for sure.
You aren't perspiring. I didn't notice you were as cool as a cucumber. And here's a man that, as I indicated, was 45th twice, 90th in the standings at a field of 420, and then moved up and moved all the way to the tournament lead. You must have a little intestinal fortitude, Tom.
Well, it was just a steady climb for me. Things got better as the week went along, and I just kept moving up. I didn't ever have to get out in front and stay in front of anybody. I just had to, keep throwing strikes and keep trying to catch up with people in front of me. And then as it comes down, I just barely got into first.
Rooting for you to get that $50,000 true value check if you'd rolled a perfect game as the commissioner of the PBA. And since you were one of 10 first-time winners in the history of PBA competition here at the Showboat, Joe Antonora, I know, wants to congratulate you. Joe?
Tom, I do. I wanted to give you that $50,000 too.
That would have been fine with me.
Bowling.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much.
How large is your family?
I'm not married or anything yet, just me and my mother. That's it.
Well, Mom's very happy, and I know you are too. And Joe Kelly and Joe Antonora, thanks for coming out here. Thank you, Bo. Don Genalo, 14,000 runner-up. And it was a big 259 to a 206 for Don Genalo. And it's been an interesting day because we had a bowler that won 2 matches, as you see on the flight board. And, of course, that was the runner-up, Don Genalo. And Gary Skidmore, who won our first tournament here in our 22nd year of televising PBA action, was also in the finals today. So we're going to have an interesting rest of the way, and it'll be Grand Prairie, Texas, a week from today, going to this vast and beautiful bowling establishment to lanes that have crystal chandeliers. This is the money today. $27,000 the winner, Milton, 14 to Genalo. Hutchinson was $7,500, and Skidmore picks up $6,000, and Marshall Holman, who had his problems with a $5,000 check. So once again, the winner of the Showboat Invitational is Tom Milton. The final score, 259 to Genalo's 206. Today's program is produced by Peter Engelhardt, directed by Norm Samet, technical director Bob Bernthal, associate director Tony Slotkin. This is Chris Schenkel along with Nelson Burton Jr. saying so long from Las Vegas. Stay tuned. Next for ABC's Wide World of Sports, featuring the Superbikers, the International Tandem Surfing Championships, and a report on the Men's World Cup in Yugoslavia, the downhill skiing from there. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airline.
The Professional Bowlers Tour. This ABC Sports exclusive has been brought to you by the STP Corporation. Around the track, around the world, depend on STP, proven performance. This has been an ABC Sports presentation.
Sunday.
For your kid.
It's a blueprint for murder. I'd kill for it.
It's a Murder by the Sea on Matt Houston. Then.
I used to do some crazy things.
So did I.
Burt Reynolds and Sally Field drive the cops crazy in Smokey and the Bandit.
Schwartz's Big and Tall is your headquarters for fashionable menswear, especially if you're hard to fit.